Hello and welcome all. My name is Khanam and this is my 14th video in React series. Okay, in our previous video we have seen how to do this one, how to rotate our image and how to give internal styling, external styling, and also how to import CSS files in our React. Now in this tutorial we are going to learn how to create separate components, how to create separate files, as we have already known that components are heart of React. Okay, while it comes to React, then it's all about components. We have to break the code, we have to write the code in separate components, and we have to combine all the components and we have to make our application ready. Okay, now we will see about components and how we are going to use components and how we will import components inside a React app. Now we have already seen that inside our index.js, all the file, I'll just delete this entire thing about our previous tutorial. I'll just delete this, and also this stylings I'm just going to remove from here. I'll close all the files. Okay, now inside index.js we have to render two modules, React and React DOM, and whatever code we will be writing, the entire code will be rendered inside this index.js. The entire code will be rendered inside this index.js, and from index.html we are going to access this div container and we are going to store all the code inside this div container itself. Now inside index.js we are going to render our components. So first I'll be writing import. First I have to import two modules, import React from React. And next I want to import React DOM. I'll be writing that one, import React DOM from React DOM. I have to import these two modules. Now I'll be rendering that one, React DOM.render. And this will take two arguments, first what should be displayed and second where it should be displayed. I'll just open this syntactic sugar form and here I'll separate with comma. I'll be writing this document dot get element by id, and inside this I'll be passing this root. I'll just close this one. Now here I'll just write one h1. Okay, inside this h1 I'll be writing here components. I'll save this. I'll just refresh this one. Now you can see I got the output as components. I'll just write here React documents. Now inside this website, if I show you what is components, now you can see here this complete header can be one component, and inside this component this separate can be one component, this tutorial can be in separate component, this blog can be in separate component, this logo can be separate component, this side nav can be separate component, this heading, this whatever it's visible, this main section can be in separate component. And also if I just come down and if I show you, you can see I have only this heading, I have some paragraph, I have this heading and I have this paragraph. So for this I can have separate components, and also for this you can see I have the same thing, heading, paragraph. So I can just create separate components and I can just change the headings here and headings and the title. Okay, if you see this is complete separate components, and footer can be separate components. Okay, this entire footer can be separate components, and inside this footer these divs can be separate components. Okay, whatever components you will be having, that everything will be combined and that will be passed in one parent component, and that parent component will be rendered inside our index.js. We will see an example on this and then only we are going to understand, and we will understand how it works. Okay, now here I have written components. Now to create separate components, either you can just right click on src and you can create new file, or you can create new folder and you can import all the component files inside this new folder. Okay, first we will see how to create new files. Click on this new file. Here I'll be writing my file name as component1.js. Now I have created separate component. This is my component1.js file. Now inside this file we have to import React. Okay, because we are going to use JSX elements in all the files. So for all the files we have to import React. I'll be importing import React from React. And here we have to write the function. Either you can use normal function or you can use fat arrow function. I am going to use fat arrow function in my entire series. I'll be writing this component1. Here I'll be giving this fat arrow function, and inside this function we have to give this return keyword, and this is going to return me something. I'll just write here h1. Here I'll just give some text. I'll be giving component1 should component 1 display. I'll just give some random text here. Now this function is going to return this one. I'll just enclose this one. Now once I import this one, once I have this file, I have to export this one. Only then I can render inside my index.js file. So we are going to learn about import and export in our later tutorial, but here I'll just write this export. I'll be explaining you what is default, and whatever file, whatever function name you are having this, and you have to export that function name here. I'll save this. Now once you have exported this component, you have to import in whichever file you want to use this component, this data, whatever you are having inside this component. If you want to use in other files, you have to import this particular file. So inside index.js, I want to use this one, so I'll be importing that one. I'll be writing this import whatever function name. You can give any name here, but for convenience I'll just give here component, whatever function name I'm having, I'll just write here component from this component. Okay, you can see here I have this suggestion. Okay, inside this same folder I am having, inside this src itself I am having this component 1 js and also index.js. So I'll just write here dot and component 1. Now once I have imported this one, now I can use this as my custom element. Okay, custom element is nothing but, okay, this is my element now, this is my JSX element. Now this we already have, these are predefined elements. We have heading h1, h2, h3. Now to create our custom element, we know that React should always have closing tag. Either it can be image, we should have a closing tag. Okay, you can either for image, you can either use like this. Okay, you can either close like this or you can directly close like this. Okay, this both will work, but image is not having any children inside that one. We only have image, so we will be closing like this. So now this component 1 will be our custom element. So we are going to write that one, that element name, whatever you are importing, that element name you have to write here, and you have to enclose like this or you can enclose like this. Okay, it depends on you, but mostly we are going to use like this. We are just enclosing like this. Okay, because we are not having any content outside this, so we will be closing like this. Now if I just show you the output, you can see here I am having this component 1 display. This data is not inside my index.js. This component 1 display is inside my component 1.js. You can see it's inside this file. This content is inside this file. I am just importing that file inside my index.js and I am just writing this custom element. Whatever I am having here, I am just writing that one. If I just change this file name here, and here also if I just remove this, while defining the function and while exporting it should be same, and while importing you can give any name here, and this is my file name. Okay, whatever file name we are having here, that is the file name. If I just don't give this one here, and while exporting I am giving this one here, I'll save this. Now if I refresh, you can see I'll be getting an error, component 1 is not defined. Okay, you can give any names and this name should be matching with this name. I'll save this. Now I'll be getting an output, and whatever you are importing, this you can give any name. I can also give here hello, then also it will work. And while giving this hello, I'll just copy this one. Instead of this I have to write this one here. I'll just write hello here, and our custom element should be in capital letters. I'll just give here hello, and here I'll be giving hello. I'll save this. Now if I just refresh this one, you can see again I'll be getting the output. Okay, whatever name you are passing, and each time you should be careful that our custom element will always be having capital letter. First letter will be capital. Okay, whatever you can give any name here, and you should be giving the correct file name. And while declaring the function and while exporting the function, this function name should be having the same name. Now I'll just give here component 1. I'll save this, and also I'm going to remove this hello and I'll be writing component 1. I'll save this. Now this is my output here, component 1 display. Okay, this is my first component. Now what if I want to create more components? Now instead of, now I'll just delete this one. I'll just delete this component 1. Now we will see how to import our header, footer and main section. Now, and also I'm just going to remove this component from here. I'll just remove this so that I'll not be getting any error. I'll just refresh once. Now you can see I have this components as my output because in my index.js I have given this. Now I'll be creating separate folder here. Inside src, I'll be creating new folder. I'll give my folder name as components. Now inside this components folder, I'm going to create file. I'll give my file name as header.js. And also I'll be creating one more file. I'll be giving footer.js. And finally I'll just create one more file. I'll give my file name as main.js. Okay, these are separate components now, footer, header and main. Now inside header, I'll just come to header now. I'll be writing here import React from React. Okay, because we are going to use JSX elements in all the files, so we have to import React from React. Here I'll be declaring the function const. I'll just give my function name as header. Okay, you can give any name here, header. Here inside this function is going to return something, and here I'll just open syntactic sugar form and I'll just close syntactic sugar form. Inside this function, okay, inside this return, I'll just write one h1. I'll be giving here header. I'll just write here I am header. Once I have created separate component, I have to export this one. Only then I can use this default and this export import. I'll be explaining you in my next tutorial, but as of now, this is what we are going to learn. I'm just going to export this header. I'll save this. Now inside index.js, I'll just write that one. I'm going to import both. I'll just write header, import header from. Now you can see here, once I give this dot slash, I'll be getting this components folder. I will come inside this component folder. Now inside this component folder, I have these three files, footer, header and main. I want to import header, so I'll just give here header. Now this is nothing but our component will be acting as a custom element. So I'll just copy this one, and below this I'll be pasting that one, and here I'll be closing my custom element. Okay, this is the first component we have created. I'll just refresh this. Now you can see I have my I am header. Now I'll be creating, now inside my main, from in header.js, I'll just copy this entire thing, and here I'll be pasting that one. I'll just change it to main. I'll just copy this main, and here I'll be pasting that one, and here I'll be pasting that one. Okay, I'll just copy this again, and inside footer I'll be pasting that one, and here I'll just change it to footer. I'll just copy this one. Here I'll be pasting that one, and also here I'll be pasting that one. I'll save this. Now once we have imported this one, once we have imported React, and once we have exported our footer and main, now I have to use inside index.js. So to use, I have to import that one. I'll be importing that one. First I'll be importing main from, okay, as soon as I give this dot slash, I'll be having this components folder. Inside this I have this main file. Okay, next I'll be importing footer. I'll just import footer from, import footer from components folder, and inside this I have this footer. Now once I have imported this one, to use this is the custom element. Now I'll just copy this, and here I'll be pasting that one. I'll close this custom element. To use this footer also I have to do the same thing. I'll copy this, and here I'll be pasting that one. I'll save this. Okay, now these are my separate components. I am just creating separate files for this. I have written whatever I want inside this particular files. Okay, now this will be acting as my component, and here I am just importing that one, and now I am just assuming that it is my custom element, and I am just writing this custom element, and this custom element should always be in capital letters. Okay, first letter should always be in capital letters, and here I am just writing that custom element. Now if I just refresh this one, you can see I am having this I am header, I am main and I am footer. Now inside index.js, I don't want these three components. I want only one parent component, and that parent component will be having all other components, which means that all header, main and footer. Okay, now inside this index.js, I don't need these three components. Okay, instead of this, I want only this app component, which will be having all these three components. Okay, here instead of this one, inside components, I'll be creating one parent component, that is one file. I'll give my file name as app.js. Okay, if you don't give this, if you don't create this app.js, we will be having default app.js. You can see here, we are having this default app.js. Okay, you don't have to create separate app.js. Now inside this app.js, we are going to pass entire thing. Instead of creating separate file inside components folder, that is app.js, by default we will be having this app.js file, and in this file we are going to import all the 3 components. Okay, I'll just tell you, I'll just import all these 3 components. I'll just copy from here, I'll delete from here, and inside app.js I'll be pasting that one, and also I'll copy this import React from here, and here I'll be pasting that one. Okay, now this app.js is separate component. Okay, for components we should always define functions. We should not render that one. Render method we will be having only one inside the main file, that is index.js. Here I'll be giving this function. Now inside this function I just want to write return, and this is returning 3 components. So I'll be creating syntactic sugar form, and here I'll just copy this 3 components. I'll just remove from here. I'll save this, and here I'll be pasting that one. Now once I have defined this function, I have to export this one, only then I can use in my index.js. I'll be giving export default app. Now once I have exported that one, here I am using this custom element, so I have to import that one. I'll be giving this import app from inside my app file. I'll just write here app. I'll save this. Now if I refresh this, you can see I'll be having the same output without getting any error. Now I'll just explain you. Now we are going to create separate components for our header, for footer, for main. Okay, you can create as many as components you want, and all the components we are just passing inside one parent component, and that is nothing but our app.js. Okay, whatever components you are having, like you will be having header, you will be having icons component, you will be having separate component for cart, for shopping list, for separate cards. Okay, you can have as many as components you want, and that components I am just passing, I am just importing in one component, that is my app.js. Now this entire app.js will be having entire application code, and this component I am just importing inside my index.js, and here I am rendering that one. Inside index.js we will be having only app component which will be rendered, and inside this app we are going to have all these components. We will be having header, footer, main. Now if I just come to component header, I'll just write here 1111. I'll save this. Now inside my main also I'm just going to write here 1111. I'll save this. Now inside my footer also I'll be writing here 1111. I'll save this. Now if I just show you the output, you can see all 111 is been added. Okay, whatever changes I do here, that will be affected, and that output will be printed to me. Okay, this is all about components. Components is nothing but we are going to break the code. Now this header I can use in any file. I'll just copy this header. Now if I want to use inside footer, now here I'll just write that header element. Now once I'm using this header element, I have to import that header element here. So I'll just copy this one, and inside my footer I'll just paste that header element. Now here I don't have to write this components folder because I am already inside this component folder, and my footer is also inside components folder. So I just have to write here ./header. I'll save this. Now you can see this I am header and this footer is inside this footer. Okay, first this output will be printed header. Now next I'll be having this footer. If I just bring this header down, I'll save this. Now if I just refresh, you can see I am footer and I am header. Once we create components and once we write the code for components, we can use that components in any file. We just have to import and we have to create the custom element for that, and we can use that component anywhere inside the code. We don't have to repeat the code again and again inside HTML. And if you are using Bootstrap, then we used to copy and paste all the cards. We used to copy and paste the entire thing, so that we repeat ourselves. But inside React we are not going to repeat ourselves. We are just creating separate component, and wherever you want, you just have to import that component and you can use that component. Okay, components are nothing but they are the heart of React, and components provides reusable codes we can write anywhere inside our application. When we do projects in this series, then you will understand more about components, and also you will get hands-on practice on what is components and how to work and how to handle components. I have just created 3 separate components, and these 3 separate components I have imported in the main component, that is app.js, and this only one component app.js I have rendered inside index.js. Okay, now in our next tutorial, we are going to see what is this import and what is export default. We will understand that one, and then we will make simple project on this, and then you will understand in better way what are components and how these are useful in React applications. Okay, that's all for today's tutorial. Thank you so much for listening. Have a great day.